Hanukkah. This podcast is a Bible study and requires no knowledge of Accordance Bible software, Hebrew, or Greek. The Hanukkah season will quickly be upon us, and I just realized we've never done a study of its origins. This Jewish religious holiday does not appear in the Hebrew Bible, though it is mentioned once in the Christian New Testament. Its origins lie in the intertestamental period, and it should not be confused with the Christian Christmas, which was established much later. Let me invite you to join me today as we investigate the origins of this distinctively Jewish celebration. The only biblical mention of Hanukkah is here in John 10:22, where it says, "At that time the Feast of Dedication took place in Jerusalem. It was winter, and Jesus was walking in the temple in the colonnade of Solomon." The first place I'm going to look for more information is topics in the info pane. Clicking here on Dedication, Feast of, opens to the appropriate article in my default dictionary, which is the Erdman's Dictionary of the Bible. These one-volume Bible dictionaries are often the best way to get a quick overview of a subject. Now, while reading this article, I see that my hypertext links to Maccabees aren't working. So let's check my tool preferences. Here's the issue. I have my default text set to the ESV, which doesn't include the Apocrypha. Since 1st and 2nd Maccabees are in the Apocrypha, I'll need to select a Bible translation that includes them, like the NRSV. While I'm at it, I think I'll change my alternate text to one that covers the whole Bible. Since I work in Greek more than Hebrew, I'm going to select the Greek Bible, which combines a Septuagint with the Greek New Testament. There. With those changes made, all my verse references are now appearing in Instant Details. If I press my Command key, that's Control for Windows users, I can also see my alternate Greek text, both here in John 10:22 and here in 1 Maccabees. The first paragraph of this article says, "A celebration in remembrance of the restoration of the Jerusalem temple and the consecration of its new altar in 165 or 164 BCE under Judas Maccabeus. The Hebrew name for the festival is Hanukkah, first attested in the 1st century CE. The 8-day observance begins on the 25th of Kislev, November-December, compare John 10:22, which refers to Jesus being in Jerusalem in the winter, during the Feast of Dedication. The initial celebration included the offering of sacrifices, music, and the adornment of the front of the temple and the chambers of the priests. At this first celebration, it was decided that Hanukkah should be observed annually. The 8 days of Hanukkah are likely based on the duration of Solomon's dedication of the first temple." Now that's an excellent overview of this celebration, and one I want to be sure to preserve. For many years, I've simply copied information from Accordance into Word, and then worked with it there. Now with Accordance 12 stacks, I can save all my notes right in Accordance. So let's create a new stack and call it Hanukkah, the more common name for the Feast of Dedication. We'll open the Hanukkah stack and then copy this first paragraph into it. I like using this keyboard shortcut Option-Command-K, but clicking the stack button on the toolbar works just as well and is almost as convenient. Another convenient innovation in Accordance 12 is that similar tools now appear at the top of this drop-down menu, making it easier to search for similar articles. Since I opened a one-volume Bible dictionary, others appear at the top of my list, followed by my multi-volume Bible dictionaries. Now, we won't have the time to read articles from each of them, but we will add several of them to our stack. Here's an interesting fact from the Holman Bible Dictionary article. Josephus refers to Hanukkah as the Feast of Lights because a candle was lighted each successive day until a total of 8 was reached. And here's a beautiful photo of that activity. Let's add it to our stack too. There are many more Bible dictionaries with good information. But we need to move on to different resources in the interest of time. Before we do, I want to share a personal observation. Accordance 12 stacks are already changing my workflow in another way. I now tend to collect information first, then process it later. I'm not afraid I'll miss something important, because once I review a clip, I can easily reopen a source from stacks just by clicking the resource button. That's making my research much more efficient. I've now switched to the NRSV and added 1 Maccabees 4:36-61 to my verse search. This latter passage details the events of the first Hanukkah celebration. Let's move to 1 Maccabees. Notice these men's despair when they saw the condition of the sanctuary and its altar. The next paragraph details the great lengths they took to repair the damage and reconsecrate this place of worship. Verses 52 through 58 then describe the first Hanukkah celebration. And the final paragraph, verses 59 through 61, their decision to make this an annual event. Now I want to add all these texts to my stack, which I can easily do by selecting all and clicking the Add to Stack button. Notice that this latest update to Accordance 12 distinguishes between text citations in a stack, which are now on a yellow background, and tool citations, which are on a red background. Pictures, as you can see, have a blue background, and user items have a green background. These colors make it easy to see at a glance what sort of information is contained in the clip. We've already surveyed the information our Bible dictionaries have to offer, so let's turn to our commentaries and study Bibles. And yes, we have resources of both types that address the apocryphal books like 1 Maccabees. Once again, notice we're starting from the info pane, which still works nicely for these apocryphal books. Simply clicking on a commentary or a study Bible cover opens it to the correct place in a parallel pane, where we can access more information to add to our stack. In Accordance 11, one could quickly run out of space with so many columns. A new Accordance 12 feature addresses that issue nicely. Subsequent clicks simply replace the content of the parallel pane. Ooh, just a minute. Here's some good information from an Anchor Bible commentary. Let's add it to our stack. The Orthodox Study Bible includes this tidbit from the Babylonian Talmud. We'll want that too. And finally, here's the Mosaic prescriptions the Maccabees followed in their work. Okay, now where was I? Oh, I know. If we want to keep a resource open, we can just add it back in from the Add Parallel button, where it appears at the top under Recent Modules. These parallel columns do not recycle, unlike the one open from the info pane. Alternately, we can Command-click to open a resource in a tied tab in a different zone. The tied tab will keep the commentary synced with the text as it scrolls. Now, let's use Accordance's research feature to locate even more information. We're going to want to use English to search for the word Hanukkah in all tools. Now, in this step, I'm particularly looking for good Jewish sources since we're studying a Jewish celebration. Let me adjust things here to give our research results just a bit more room to breathe. And that will give me more room to see the resources in the browser. At the very top of my search results are two such sources, Erdman's Dictionary of Early Judaism and the JPS Dictionary of Jewish Words. I have high confidence in the quality of both of them, so I'm not even going to bother reading the articles first. I'm just going to open both sources and copy them into my stack in their entirety. Let me just add that I'm convinced that Christian and Jewish scholars alike should be acquainted with one another's work. We have much to learn from each other's areas of expertise. I'm particularly grateful that the JPS dictionary included modern practices, like playing dreidel, giving Hanukkah gelt to children, eating foods like latkes, and sufganiyot, eating jelly donuts. I noticed that this same dictionary contains alternate spellings of the festival here at the very bottom of this article. This is often the case with words transliterated from Hebrew. To be sure I see everything in my accordance library, I should probably rerun my search using all three spellings of the word, separated by commas inside a pair of parentheses. That will ensure that research finds every place any one of these three spellings appears. This search will take a bit longer. Another excellent source of information on Jewish practices is the JPS Haftarot commentary. It contains scripture readings and commentaries for all of the Jewish holy days. This includes the 2 Sabbaths of Hanukkah, so we'll add those to our stack as well. Now, there are a lot of these resource categories I'm simply not interested in for this study, so I'm just going to close them. That's another nice feature of Accordance. I am interested in checking this Readings and Prayers for Jewish Worship. And we'll add this Hebrew prayer as well. Okay, with all that material added, let's run research in graphics tools for images where any of these three words appear in the captions. Now, there's not a lot of them, but we can add several pictures to our stack using a keyboard shortcut. Finally, no research today, especially into contemporary practices, is probably complete until we take a look at what the Internet has to offer. We can add both pictures and text from articles on the net to our stack, though it's nowhere near as convenient as adding something from within Accordance. To add a picture, copy it, then click on the stack and paste. Be sure to copy the URL and paste it into comments. Like this, so we know where we got the image. The same is true with text. Again, bibliographic information must be copied and pasted separately. There, our research is done and our information collected. I trust you've enjoyed this brief study of the origins of Hanukkah. I also hope you benefited from some of the tips and techniques we used along the way. Finally, let me wish all of our Jewish viewers a happy Hanukkah from those of us here at Accordance. This has been Dr. J for Accordance Bible Software. Thank you for watching this episode of Lighting the Lamp.